So Spencer, what we're talking about here is what we call the recurve. And on the all-wood paddle, you have a very pronounced recurve. And you also have a spoon on the blade, all right. But talking about the recurve, if you go to the hybrid paddle and bring that up, you're saying that it has a slight recurve, but not as pronounced as the all-wood paddle.
Right.
And the reason for that is because you're going for a higher stroke rate. And the recurve would otherwise be slowing down bringing the paddle out of the water.
The recovery.
The recovery.
Yeah.
All right. You still have a bit of a spoon on here.
Yep.
So what you're doing is you've designed this hybrid paddle for high stroke rate.
Exactly.
Right? With a slight recurve, a slight spoon, and the bent handle.
Exactly.
And the fact that we've got the bent handle is because we've got the hybrid paddle. Because if it was all carbon, you wouldn't be able to get that bent.
Right.
The bent grip.
Can't right now,
you
but
can't,
somebody will.
Yeah, but at some future date. But that's the way you get all of that together.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. So then there's the paddle.
Yeah.
That's the paddle for the high speed.
So you would remember, John,
Yeah.
years ago with the chestnut canoes.
Yes.
Okay, canvas covered.
Yes.
Big long paddle. Guy says, "Well, I'm 6'4". I need a paddle up to here."
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Geez, I'm looking good now.
Yeah.
And after about 10 strokes,
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah, what's that hanging out there? That 4 pounds hanging over the end that I don't need.
Yeah.
And they start to drive out here.
Right.
This is cocked. This is cocked. You drive down to get vertical, the bow goes up. You finish your power in there, that little distance, you kick it at the back, the bow goes down.
You're bobbing.
Porpoising.
Yeah. Okay, so
you know, over time.
So now you're starting to talk about paddle height.
Yeah.
And now, just first question: is the bowman going to measure his paddle height different than the stern man?
I think he should.
All
Because
right.
he's got further to water.
All right. So how would a bowman measure his paddle?
You pretty well have to. It's trial and error. Which one fits?
Okay.
You'll know. When it's too long, you'll know.
So is there no starting point? You say it's got to be up to your nose or up to your chest?
I don't think it needs to be that long. But again, it depends how your seating arrangement is. Is he right up in the bow? How are his legs situated?
Yeah, well, a lot of that has to do with the weight differences.
Yeah, and the canoe determines a lot of paddle length.
Right.
Not so much the person.
Yeah.
Right, where you're sitting in the canoe, the seat height of the canoe
Right.
is a bigger factor than the person.
Right.
Right? Because people, in general, the difference is when you sit down beside each other, get equalized. Generally,
From the waist up.
Yeah, generally taller person has longer arms,
Yes.
etc. It kind of gets equalized, right? So there's kind of starting points there, but then the boat determines it after that, and so does your technique, of course, later on.
Now, when you raced, did you do the hut style? Hut?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, you know, I mean, to me, the way they taught me in Regina, and Mike Vincent was one of my teachers.
Yeah, he knows the...
All right, is you hut to steer.
Yes.
You hut to steer.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
You hut to steer.
Yes.
So you could, you know, like Mike and Fiona, they could hut on every second or third stroke.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they need to.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
And then they might go 10 strokes, but then they hut when they need to steer. And the business of steering is to try to keep the boat straight.
Exactly.
Okay, so if you start to drift, you hut. You start to drift, you hut.
Yeah.
And you hut to steer.
Yeah.
So that's the way I'm being taught. Now that's what we did in the Duncan Shield.
Because if you jade a steer,
No.
speed's gone.
The speed's gone.
Here we go.
You can't
up,
jade
down,
a spear.
Up, down, up, down.
Nor,
So you're exactly right.
Yeah.
Spencer's right.
Yeah.
And when I used to be right up in the bow like this, my feet would be right like this.
yeah.
Jammed right up as far as I could get, the shortest stick I could get. Still give me distance from the edge of the boat,
Yes.
you know. And so that's right. The seating arrangement is a factor. You get a guy up there with long legs, you don't want his knees sticking up.
Well, you know, like you talk about seating arrangement. I mean, like in our pro boats, the seats can be adjusted forwards or backwards. Okay, some of the ones we practiced in, you couldn't adjust them, but what we did is we wanted to trim the boat.
Yeah.
And from what I we wanted it to be slightly up a little bit, if I recall. Or wait a minute, no, we want it to be nosing just a touch.
a tad.
We want it to nose just a touch.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, I don't think we got to that level of perfection on this past race, but we need to get to that. Yeah. So the weight of the two paddlers is going to be the first thing that will determine what's happening. Yeah. Then the amount of the adjustability of the seat to get the trim that is needed. Yeah. Now you can begin to determine the paddle length.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Okay, but that's a problem.
You have it exactly right. So you go out to see your son, if you had a chance at all.
Yes.
You know, well, listen, how are you going to get a hold of a canoe if you can't? Someone just say, well, how are you going to, let's see how you sit up on the bow here.
No, we're going to have to.
So you get a rough idea anyway.
Exactly. We're going to have to get out there and rent a canoe and determine the weight distribution and the length of the paddle that he wants. And what you're saying is to get
be ready.
Yeah, get a couple of them, and until you get one that you're comfortable with.
That's right.
I would say for a starting point, you definitely wouldn't be longer than a 50-inch. That's long for.
Okay. Now you're talking about for stern or bow?
Bow.
For bow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, Don, talk about my paddle length. The guy in the stern. How would I measure it?
Again, it's going to be your preference.
Trial and error.
Where are you comfortable?
Right.
Remember, John, your power's here. It's not out here.
Yes.
Okay?
Right.
If you're out here, so you're going to be right there. Boom,
right.
Boom.
Right. Right. Okay. Right. Got it.
And to my way of thinking, I may be wrong on this, but for me, I think in the stern, the shorter the better.
Okay.
You know, less over the side, and the whole works there. You know, but you get in and you find out this one's too long. There's something not right here. Didn't we try a little shorter? Another inch shorter, you know?
Don, talk to me about why is the paddle bent? Why do you bend the paddle at all?
The whole idea there is to get vertical as quick as you can, maximum power.
Okay, can you be
because if
more
it's straight?
Yes.
You got to start way out there. Okay.
Okay.
When it's already curved, you're right in. You're vertical, your maximum power, almost immediately. You see what I mean by the entry?
Okay, but the fact that it's bent to me means that you're like from.
Well, look at it this way. See, if I got to go out here with a straight stick to start driving.
Okay.
All right. Now I have to start that stroke here.
So then, why isn't it bent the other way?
How do you mean?
Okay, if based on
this way?
Yes, like there. Now that to me means you're getting vertical faster.
Yeah, but, but what are you doing back here?
You have no. Now you have a problem. Back there, you have the problem. Yeah. Right. Okay, so go over it again. Why do we bend the paddle again?
Well, it's for maximum efficiency.
Maximum forward push with the vertical blade.
Yeah.
Maximum forward for your effort.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the basic premise there. You're going to get maximum forward push for your effort.
Okay.
Less up and down and maximum forward.
How come they don't have bent blades on dragon boats?
500 meters?
Or 1,000?
Well, they could.
I don't think it's regulation.
I don't know.
It's tradition.
But that's not Chinese. See, that's another argument we have here. Dragon boat's fine.
Yes.
But that's not Canadian.
No.
We're Canadian.
We're Canadian.
This is our damn sport.
That's right. Yeah. You know? That's good. That's
the way
good.
I see it, anyway.
That's excellent.
And I mean, it's nice to watch the dragon boat, but what, 500 meters?
Yeah.
Game over.
Right.
You know.
So Don, tell me what you think I'm doing, and with the Duncan Shield, and what whether I'm on the right track with this or not.
Well, from what you have said to us, I would say that you've got a great tradition going there. It should be continued. The young people should have a chance to get at this, get themselves in there. You've got history behind you there. And in my thinking, the same as we do with this company, to keep the history, Canadian history alive, what went on back there 80, 90 years ago is just a wonderful thing to do.
So where else can you leverage the history of an event with the technicality that this canoe racing is getting into? I mean, when you can blend the modern technical approach into the history of an 86-year-old race,
Yeah.
this is something.
I don't think there is another
No,
one anyway.
this is very, very unusual,
Yeah.
and the fact that it's Canadian.
Yeah,
Yes.
and you will see now up north, Cumberland House, through that area up there, that they are now coming in back into the big boats, the 25-foot north canoes racing, quite long distances.
Yes,
So it's there.
it's there.
It's just and your idea of bringing this back again, I think is tremendous.
Yeah.
Absolutely tremendous. And I can't see anything but success. Really.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, thank you. Thank